What's going on, guys? Not necessarily episode 2, but essentially it is episode 2. There will be a continuation of this episode. I just have to go ahead and put it into reference first. So, a lot that I didn't say on my first intro episode that I really felt like I wanted to say, but this is gonna be a one take type of tape, just to show you guys that it's more than anything, anyone can do it. So I'll put into a very broad summary what this is going to entitle about the next episode, the continuation. I will have a guest on, and this will be a long-term friend of mine. He'll have his intro. And we were talking about a lot of societal views. We were talking about a lot of societal structures that, are outdated. And that's essentially what this is gonna be on. And it's gonna be a very long episode. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put it into pieces or I'm just gonna throw it out as one tape. But essentially, this is why I'm putting this one out. So first and foremost, I want to express that just like anything in life, usually things have an expiration date. Laws have a point where they reach that they are no longer within the guidelines of modern society. They just strictly easily get outdated. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's not something that is a flaw in our government. That's just us as evolution progressing. We no longer need such caveman-like detailed law. So one thing I really wanted to get into is how I feel about that, because as much as I like to get rebuttals and any other type of opinions on what I'm about to say, I want to express myself about it first. So this is essentially a world we live in where most of the people, and when I say most, I really mean most, are working to live, and that's outdated. First and foremost, that's outdated. It's just not even by opinion, but more than anything, we're at a point in our lives where money rules the world. It's a capitalistic world, and had it not been for that being the current situation for humanity, we would be at a much different state in our lives where we would be working to supply our dreams. A quick fact is, there is more water than there is more water than land on Earth, and by a significant amount. So technology is exponential. As you create technology, you have technology as a tool to immediately help you create something more advanced. It's just, you don't have to validate that. It's valid within its own sense. I have a computer here. This computer can help me create so many things for technology that it would have just taken so much more time had I not had something like this tool. So that's what I mean by an exponential rate. A lot of these things, to put in perspective, really, there's a saying that humanity is like 100 years behind, 200 years behind, something like that. And it's really because we don't have access to these things. Because once we are placing ourselves in an access and applicable situation, now you have a new platform where you can advance at a much higher rate. So as technology helps human advancement, you think about a hospital and how there are creations of machines that can operate. And does that mean there's an extra surgeon in the hospital? More appointments can be taken? Humans, at one point, that exponential rate of evolution will have a surplus that will dip into humankind, into humanity. And this is what this is all about, a humanitarian environment, a humanitarian race. It's baffling to think that a race is at war with each other over something they created, whereas we are all rich in where we reside. Clearly, the human mind has had problems through evolution. Humans are not perfect. We all make mistakes. But the thing about it is, once we learn that mistakes teach you these new ways, the right ways, the true way of going about things, as a collective, we could place ourselves in a world where obesity and and starvation is not a worldly, a country, nation, a nationwide and worldwide problem all at the same time. It just, facts like that should show you how off things are. And so the societal structures we kind of touch on are like 9-to-5s. You know, I'm not anyone to knock anyone for making a living, but do 9-to-5s really need to be in place? You think about basic human necessities, food, water, shelter, just to name the very important ones, right? Because how are you gonna live without shelter, food, and water? Those are clearly the key survival things. Whereas other things that may matter, these are the ones where you need to see another day. One thing about that was, you know, in today's world, we all work to live. Whereas it shouldn't, everything goes through a cycle. Massacres, and by massacres I mean war to then reach peace. So at one point, what I mean to say is, it can go from worst to the best, and that's the cycle. Human nature, humankind, and evolution will always experience every single end of that spectrum, every single point throughout that. And it doesn't matter what time it's in. There has been peace throughout times before now, and then there has been, you know, great violence at certain points in times all throughout. And what I mean to say by that is, we're currently working these 9-to-5s for what? To live in a place that you will not spend half your day in? Not everyone, the real working class does not see their home for a guaranteed 8 hours a day. And when you're paying not to be here. Do they pay you not to be at work? No. You have to pay rent. You have to pay a mortgage for all the accessible times you're allowed to be in there. If there is an emergency at work, sometimes you need to be accessible. There's a clear fault in that. How, right? How is that possible? So what I mean to show by that is, you know, and there may be contradictions as to what I'm saying, of course. Everything needs to be spoken and throughout to, which is what that's gonna allude to. But my point in here is just saying that my belief is really, we can put solar panels and have the sun power the earth with clean energy. But there are companies that, for their reasons, they may not be so progressive. Another instant is the earth, as I was saying, is more water than it is land, and by a significant amount. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. And all I'm trying to say by that is, if we solve the freshwater problem from saltwater, think about what it would mean to the world, because we know how to clean it. And it's 71% water and 29% land. It's almost 3/4 water. So there goes electricity and water. You could put solar panels around the world, scattered, put them in deserts, for God's sakes. Deserts, places that people don't use. You create peace treaties, and you create an advancement. You create opportunity for people to stop having to work for a living and work for human progress. That is what we should be focused on. No one can come out here and say, oh, it's gonna be like that from one day to the next. If there's one thing we know about history, is that everything great had a toll. And a lot of greatness paid the ultimate toll. A lot of visionaries have paid the ultimate toll. Whereas that may have been possible, is easily possible before, which, you know, it may be now, conspiracy theories with suicides in jail, right? I'm not gonna state my belief on that yet, that'll be another episode. But the media is big enough to where, you know, stories and things can come out, leaks can happen now. Back then, it was a lot easier to be more in secrecy back then. So, anyways, not to go on a different tangent. So there goes water, and there goes electricity. So now shelter, right? How can we go about shelter? How could we possibly shelter the people of the world? Homelessness is not a problem that can't be solved. As people who have so much social media and see how much we give out in aid to other countries, usually the saying is, you can't take care of someone else if you don't take care of yourself first. Right? How are you gonna be taking care of someone else when your home ain't right? Right? Just think about the idea that the cure to a lot of illnesses, diseases, etc., are locked in the people that we keep in this country dumbed down. The cure to these things could be in the minds of the very same people that the idea of this country was about, immigrants that come here looking to learn, but are frowned upon because of outdated views, socialistic groups. The list goes on and on. And another thing about that is, it's our education system. Perfect. The shelter, the homeless, and the education system. With homelessness, a lot of homeless people, first of all, are more than anything, people down on their luck, can't get right, and fall into what happens to a lot of people. They become a product of their environment. People go to jail not being a real mental, I'm gonna do it again type of criminal. They're in jail and remorseful over what happened, but something happens. Sometimes humans make mistakes. And in jail, what they learn is how to be a better criminal. Sometimes the justice system fails us, and there's a lot of, conspiracies where, you can buy the law and whatnot. Another tangent for another episode. My point to this is, The prison system is all wrong. A lot of homeless people will do any type of thing that they can think of to go to jail for food and a bed. Food and a bed. That's a problem within a problem. Because at the end of the day, I forgot what state it was, and I think it's Michigan. Fact check me if you want. But if I remember correctly, it was $17,000 to jail an inmate, tax dollars, by the way. But it was $11,000 a year and these are yearly prices I'm talking about. $17,000 a year to keep as an inmate, and it was $11,000 just to provide housing for a homeless person. A person who is probably looking to go to jail just for housing and a meal. Imagine what they'll do if they have the housing where they can try to get back on their feet after being down on the luck for so long. This country was founded on the idea of we the people, but yet you exclude certain people and you exclude them when they're down on the luck. Outdated governmental socialistic views. And it's our fault. We're ignorant. We're arrogant. We think we know it all. I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 1994. But my point in that is this. We have to be the change. Look at the education system. You solve homelessness. You solve water. You solve electricity. So now, granted, we gotta talk about food, but before education, because at the end of the day, you can't be starving in class. We know breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? Because it's brain food. So, with food, growing crops is no problem. There's a lot of farmers. There's a lot of natural food that the earth already produces. If we could only just simply, in today's world, apply the technology that we already have to create abundance. Not GMOs, I'm talking about organic, just more of it. These solar panels, could we not put more into giving us some extra heat for said organics for us to consume? But it's crazy because technically healthy food costs more in the grocery stores than fast food does, right? So you wonder what's wrong there. Well, sounds like they're trying to just keep us dumbed down. So now we got food out the way. Well, not really, but that'll be open to discussion. I really just want to get to education. We pay our government X amount of income tax from wherever we reside in order to supply the public schools around us. Without knowing too much, you think about this. There are plenty of people that make plenty of money. There are plenty of parts that keep certain things updated. And whereas industrialization may not be so bad, this country in itself has some of the best roads, the best structures, the best buildings, and not for much, but most of the people make money here. So it's either taxes aren't done properly or the government's not doing what they need to do for education. I said earlier something about aiding other countries before fixing home. Why is it that we can send money to pick a side in another part of the world, whereas I do agree that that was the right thing to do, but you have to understand the magnitude of your situation at home first. Here in this country, we went from being number one, I don't know how long ago, to now being laughable. And it's really intense when you think about what we do spend our money on, what we do with these laws, and how we really just ignore matters like education. Most of most of most of these kids in schools, society is so rigid right now that it's incredible how many school shooting reports there are. It really takes that to see how these kids are mentally thinking about things and what's going on in school. People are starting to pay attention to school now with the school shootings, and they're totally missing what the point. The point is, why are these kids thinking about guns? Why are they thinking about murder? Why are they thinking anything in regards of taking matters into their own hands and having to do something that is just flat out wrong? As human advancement goes, it sounds standard to think we need to preserve life, not abolish it, not eliminate it. And that's what's going on. But now the resolution within some states, counties, is teachers are now carrying guns. So you want to shoot out at the school, because that's the end result of arming anyone. As I agree, border, a type of school patrol should probably be mandated. What type of thing is it to think you need, school has gotten so bad that you need someone with a gun at a school? Now, protection is fine anywhere, especially where there are children. So school patrol should have been a thing since there has been, like in my city, in Miami, in the early 2000s, there was the rapist of Shenandoah. That's a perfect call for a school patrol. I'm not saying it takes school shootings to put a school patrol up, but you don't want a shootout at the school. How do you mentally disarm that boy? In his mind, he's going through something, he's gonna take it out of the school. So you find the source of the problem, and that's where it sounds like it's coming from. And as much as a side topic that is, so is teachers. I am all for teachers getting higher pay, being understanding and efficient at their job. But the type of things that a person has to go through to think about arming themselves sounds like it has to be noticeable to me. What they're going through to think like that, whatever it is that happened, that has to be noticeable. What caused that person to think like that? It has to be once, twice, thrice. It can't be once, it has to be twice, right? It has to happen on numerous, not for everyone, because everyone is different. There probably is that one person that all it took is one, so I digress on that. But a lot of the times is, you realize that people, it takes them a while to stand up to their bully. And I feel like that's what happens. We don't just ignore our education system, we ignore the kids being educated. We're handing technology to kids in hopes that they'll learn faster, but we don't know how to monitor them because they came out, we learned them at the same time that they did, and they learned it faster than us. The younger generation is a technological age. And this is where technology gets exponential with human advancement. My belief is on education, it needs to be higher on the importance of our government. And it's not. It's really not. I believe in a society that has the capability within this platform we currently have today to launch ourselves into a progressive future where humans aren't at war, humans are learning. We're eliminating jobs and creating work for human progress. There's no reason that people should feel bad about jobs being eliminated because they can be automated. No. Because then it comes into question, oh, well, how am I gonna get paid? You don't. No one does. Because basic necessities are a thing that can be created. Oh, well, that takes work. You're 100% right. It does take work. And a lot of things that we as a race need to understand is we've always worked. We've always worked. And when we didn't work, we killed each other. That's no longer an option in today's age. We all understand how much we want to live. Love has become something so romanticized that it's Hollywood income, it's Hollywood revenue. We all fantasize about it. So the sooner we get to loving one another and working with each other, the sooner we can all live off of what is already naturally ours. As radical as that sounds, I'm not speaking on anything new or unheard of. There was a war in this country before it became this country. I'm not saying the end result was war related, but would you not fight for a better and bright future? You think about what they're doing, the fight is already waged against us, the people. Our parents are working until the day they die, but they got a social security where they pay to it from their wages, right? Because when they die, before they die, they want to retire and use that money. How can that happen when the law is allowing GMOs to give you cancer, allowing big farms to put on fertilizer that give you cancer, allowing processed water to kill your health, to diminish your lifespan? How could you ever see that coming? And they do things so that you wouldn't even be able to enjoy it unless you've lived a certain amount of time. Because that's the only way you could have put such amount of work in that you deserve, on their terms, right? That when you deserve to live off of all your hard work. One thing about it is everything has been outdated, and it's time for a software update. We need to take over on the most peaceful turn over on the most peaceful leaf. The human race is all about love. The motion that is limitless. We all will swim in the ocean for the people we love, right? You think about it. The stranger out there is saying 3 things to you. To a lot of people, they might get mad and say something back. He's not hurting you. Just saying something to you. And you're letting your emotions get the best of you. The only hurt, the only sadness we could ever experience is from the people we love. That's because for the people we love, we do anything for. The idea starts to create in your mind that no limit exists. We all, you got nice vibes, got good frequency. It's really saying, love is the perfect frequency, the frequency, our frequency. And we've been led astray, we've been led to believe that looking at someone that says hi to you and doesn't know you to mean love is fine, the thing to do. It's backwards thinking. We should all praise each other, help each other in the sense of human advancement. So that's a lot about what the next episode is about. There's a lot of context in there, but it's really, really scattered because this is one take for people to understand. It's as simple as a conversation. My friend and I argue a lot, but I love it simply because he provides and he can provide a perspective beyond himself. Not only that, he wants to poke the holes in the idea, which we all need. We all need people to check us on what we believe is right. Because the truth will stand no matter how hard you shoot at it, no matter how many times you shoot at it, the truth will always remain the same. With that being said, understanding is a big part of this. Simplicity lies in it all. And I really want to express how I try to find the words to say these things in the most direct and straight, can't even find the words, simply because it's hard to say how simple you want it. I want it as simple it is to see it, and it is to feel it, and you just know. It's that fit, there we go. That feeling you just know, when you just know, you know, that's what the truth will be. And like everything I do, question it. Look for the holes, poke them. Will more truth come out or will it pop? Who knows? Let's find out. Thanks guys for watching. Till next time.